6:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Dulmin Samarasinghe and read by Geethanjali Ramanayaka. The headlines. The Prime Minister says Sri Lanka expects continued support from the Islamic countries. The Ministerial Consultative Committee on Trade takes several decisions about the domestic gas cylinder-related explosions. Minister Dallas Alhapurma says special attention should be paid on the education of differently abled children. State Minister Dr. Sita Arambepola points out the strength of women should be used for the country's development and economic growth. The UN Special Rapporteur commends Sri Lanka on the progress made to make the country a child labour-free zone. Drone technology will be used to minimize traffic congestion in Colombo. Foreign news, Delhi records worst November air in years. Sports news, cricket, the second test between Sri Lanka and the West Indies, evenly balanced. Local news in detail now. A meeting between the ambassadors and high commissioners of Islamic countries and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa took place at the Shangri-La Hotel in Colombo yesterday. It was organised by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. They commended the speedy steps taken by the government to control the pandemic. They also expressed their views on the contribution they can make for Sri Lanka's economic growth. The Prime Minister said Sri Lanka expects continued support from the Islamic countries. The Ministerial Consultative Committee on Trade has taken several decisions about domestic gas cylinder-related explosions. It has paid attention on whether a change of gas composition has led to the explosions and on the importance of using high-quality equipment. The committee also decided to get the presidential report in 2 weeks and to implement its recommendations soon and to conduct a quality test on gas in the ship itself. The special committee meeting was held today under the patronage of Minister Bandula Gunawardena at the Parliament complex. Today is the 8th day of the committee's staged budget debate. Expenditure accounts of the Ministry of Education and 4 related state ministries were debated today in Parliament. Taking part in the debate, Minister Dallas Alhapurma said Ministry of Education should pay special attention on the education of differently abled children. He proposed to convert all colleges of education into universities. State Minister Dr. Sita Arambepola said the strength of women should be used for the country's development and economic growth. She said the State Ministry of Education has implemented many projects to modernize the education sector. Parliamentarian S.B. Disanayaka said higher education sector should be developed as a field to earn foreign exchange. He said more universities should be set up, enabling foreign students to follow their studies in the country. The United Nations Special Rapporteur on contemporary forms of slavery, including its causes and consequences, Tomoyo Obakama, who is currently undertaking a visit to Sri Lanka at the invitation of the Government of Sri Lanka, called on the Foreign Minister, Professor G.L. Pires, on Friday at the Foreign Ministry. During the meeting, the Foreign Minister discussed Sri Lanka's progress related to labour welfare and the constructive steps taken by the government to eradicate child labour. He also elaborated on steps taken to bring labour laws in line with the international standards in a number of areas, including child labour, migrant workers, and debt bondage. The Special Rapporteur commended Sri Lanka on the progress made with regard to making Sri Lanka a child labour-free zone. The Foreign Minister outlined that Sri Lanka was conscious of protecting vulnerable labour groups and emphasised that Sri Lanka will continue to cooperate with the United Nations system. Drone technology will be used to minimize the traffic congestion in Colombo. The program will be implemented on the instructions of the President. It will be implemented jointly by the police and the Air Force. Visuals taken from 9 places with heavy traffic congestions using drones will be sent to Special Operations Center at the Air Force headquarters. That information will be given immediately to the traffic police. Measures will be taken immediately to minimize the traffic congestion at such locations. It has also been proposed to take legal action against motorists who violate road rules. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus, the best option.
The chairman of the Elections Commission, Nimal Punchiheba, says the proposal submitted by the President to draft new laws to control election expenditure of candidates is very important and it has been approved by the Cabinet. He said legal draftsman has been informed to prepare the proposed amendments. Compensation payments for the families and dependents and the seriously injured following accidents have been increased. Ministry of Transport said the compensation payment has been increased from 200,000 rupees to 250,000 rupees for the dependents who die due to accidents. National Council on Road Safety has taken steps to pay 150,000 rupees for an injured person. The new compensation scheme will come into effect from next year. Launching of an action plan to reduce road accidents by 50% took place today under the patronage of Minister Pavitra Vanyarachi at Makumbura Multimode Transport Centre. Minister Udaya Gammanpila says Petroleum Corporation has incurred a loss of 70 billion rupees during the first 10 months of this year. He said not revising the price of fuel has led to the situation. He said that the Electricity Board should pay 120 billion rupees. Meanwhile, chairman of the corporation said there are sufficient stocks of fuel in the storage facilities. And that ends local news for now.
In 200 meters, turn left.
This is not just my daily commute. I drive to power my nation's future.
Sri Lanka Insurance Motor Plus introduces specialized motor insurance for you who drive our nation forward. Choose tailor-made insurance solutions, up to 75,000 rupees claim settlements within 3 working hours, exclusive discounts through Motor Plus loyalty rewards, easy and 0% interest payment plans.
Only from Sri Lanka Insurance.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The World Health Organization said today that people 60 and older who are not vaccinated or had not previously contracted COVID-19 should postpone travelling to areas with the community transmission, citing the spread of the Omicron variant. The WHO has issued a press release criticizing widespread travel bans and arguing that essential travel should continue as long as travellers remain vigilant. It has recommended that each nation assess its own risk and implement measures like screening passengers for COVID-19 and enforcing quarantine for international travellers if the need arises. And that was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Life is brought to you by
Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission.
The 14th session of the new National Environment Council of the Ministry of Environment was held recently. The meeting was chaired by the Environment Minister Mahinda Amaravira and was attended by all 25 members of the Environment Council. Minister Amaravira instructed the Environment Council to submit ideas and proposals to reduce air pollution in densely populated urban areas. And that was Watchlight.
Be aware before you follow any vocational course. When you select a training institute, check and verify its registration and course accreditation by Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission (TVEC) without wasting your valuable time and money. Visit and meet skills development officers or career guidance practitioners. Visit www.tvec.gov.lk for more information. Message from Tertiary and Vocational Education Commission.
World News, the headlines. Dairy records worst November air in years. Japan further tightens entry restrictions. Epstein pilot testifies he flew Prince Andrew. World News in detail now. According to official data, India's capital Delhi recorded its worst November air in at least 6 years. The city recorded 11 days of severe pollution, up from 10 days in November 2016. Data also showed that the residents of Delhi didn't experience even one good day of air quality through the month. Experts blame the burning of crop stubble in neighbouring states and the festival of Diwali for the alarming levels of pollution in November. The Japanese government has decided to suspend the re-entry of all foreigners from 10 African countries, including those with residential status, as the Omicron variant of the coronavirus spreads around the world. The 10 countries include South Africa, Angola, Zambia, Zimbabwe and Namibia. The ban takes effect tomorrow. The move comes following Japan's ban on new entries, in principle on non-resident foreigners globally, from Tuesday. Pedophile financier Jeffrey Epstein's longtime pilot has testified at the trial of Ghislaine Maxwell that he flew VIPs to luxury locations worldwide. Larry Wysocki, the first witness in Miss Maxwell's sex trafficking trial, recalled flying Prince Andrew, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump and Kevin Spacey. Miss Maxwell denies the charges and says she is being used as a scapegoat for Epstein, who died in prison in 2019. But prosecutors argue the pair were partners in crime in sex abuse. Back to the headlines of the world news. Delhi records worst November air in years. Japan further tightens entry restrictions. Epstein pilot testifies he flew Prince Andrew. And that ends World News.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
In development news, the Australian High Commission has granted additional $1 million Australian of continued support for landmine clearance charity, the Mine Advisory Group, until December 2022. Australia has been a consistent supporter of mine clearance in Sri Lanka since the end of the 26-year conflict in 2009 and has spent more than $20 million Australian dollars on mines clearance. In total, the new project aims to return 220,000 square meters of land to local people for safe use and help remove the threat of land mines. And that was development news.
Development News was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
Sports news, cricket. Today is the third day of the second test between Sri Lanka and the West Indies in Galle. Sri Lanka scored 204 in their first innings, while West Indies scored 253. Sri Lanka was 46 for 2 wickets in their second innings at stumps today. Tennis news. Britain's former world number 4, Johanna Konta, has announced her retirement from professional tennis. Konta, 30, reached the Wimbledon semi-finals in 2017, the first British woman to achieve the feat in 39 years. She also made the last 4 at the 2016 Australian Open and the 2019 French Open, while her best result at the US Open was a quarter-final run in 2019. And that was sports news.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to September 30th, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency through NSB U Trust for 6 months consecutively. Send more money and increase the chances of winning.
Business News Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Akbar Brothers was bestowed with the globally outreached Sri Lankan brand for the year 2020-2021, an award coveted for its recognition among all export industries in the nation. The company also received the Best Exporter Award in the tea industry for the 12th consecutive year. The award recognized the substantial proceeds from Akbar Brothers exports boosting Sri Lanka's economy. And that was Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Cash through NSB globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSB Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners.
Economic news. Courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
The Central Bank Governor Ajit Nivard Cabral said the government is expecting to boost the island's foreign exchange reserves, which had fallen to $1 billion by October to $3.5 billion by the end of the year. Sri Lanka has lost forex reserves steadily from around August 2019 as the inflation policy involving liquidity injections began to despite having pegged exchange rate. He said gross foreign currency reserves have plummeted 70% to $2.3 billion in the first 10 months of the year, and efforts are underway to boost it with swaps and other borrowings. And that was the economic news.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
In the weather report, the Met Department says showers or thundershowers will occur at a few places in the central, Uva and northwestern provinces during the evening or at night. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the western, Uva, central and Sabaragamu provinces. That was the weather report. And to conclude this news broadcast, back to the headlines. The Prime Minister says Sri Lanka expects continued support from the Islamic countries. The Ministerial Consultative Committee on Trade takes several decisions about the domestic gas cylinder-related explosions. Minister Dallas Alapermas says the special attention should be paid on the education of differently abled children. State Minister Dr. Sita Arambepola points out the strength of women should be used for the country's development and economic growth. The UN Special Rapporteur commends Sri Lanka on the progress made to make the country a child labour-free zone. Drone technology will be used to minimize traffic congestion in Colombo. Foreign news, Delhi records worst November air in years. Sports, cricket, the second test between Sri Lanka and the West Indies, evenly balanced.